Hey Panthers, Miguel here from KJLS Panthercast, bringing you the weekly KJLS news. Today is Friday, April 3rd, 2020, and first, we have Kirith talking about video games from the 2000s.
2020 is the start of a new decade, and with that comes a lot of new technology. But the late 2000s had a lot of great technology that most teenagers nowadays don't even know about. Disney's Club Penguin was an iconic video game that everyone loved. It was released in 2005 and it was discontinued in 2017. It was popular because it was the first kid-focused social network. People could interact with other players and play games in a virtual world. Many fans of the social network were upset when it was discontinued because Club Penguin was their childhood. This led people to create versions of Club Penguin, calling it Club Penguin Rewritten. Recently, Club Penguin Rewritten has seen a spike in the number of players due to the quarantine. Most of these new users are high schoolers and college students who played the game when they were young and are now returning to it amid isolation. But there were other games that were popular during the 2000s. The Nintendo DS is a handheld video game console that was released in 2005. It was popular because it had two screens. The DS in Nintendo DS stands for dual screen. The player puts a game module into the Nintendo DS and then they can play the game. As of right now, people can still buy the newer versions of the Nintendo DS, but the old version is not as popular with young people nowadays. Another video game console was the Nintendo Wii. It was popular because it had motion controllers that allowed people to play virtual games such as basketball, bowling, wakeboarding, and more. People can still buy the Nintendo Wii, but Xboxes are more popular with teenagers nowadays. This has been Kirith from KJLS.
Great, Kirith. Now for Nathan for some wacky news.
Hey Panthers, it's Nathan Kerner, and I'm here to share some more weird and funny news stories from this week to help you get through all those crazy ones. Let's get started. A woman in England snuck out of her house during the coronavirus lockdown dressed as a plant. Many neighbors were upset that she was not respecting the rules of the shutdown, but it was a pretty clever idea. A town in Wales, which is currently on lockdown, has been taken over by goats. Since the streets have been deserted, goats are just roaming around. Police are doing their best to contain this outbreak of goats. In Russia, the Batmobile has been towed away. A car made to look just like the Batmobile from the movie Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice was towed because it was privately manufactured and uncertified. Police in India are now wearing coronavirus helmets to warn residents to stay home. The country is on a 21-day lockdown, and police are attempting to scare citizens so they don't leave their homes. Rajesh Babu, a policeman who wore the helmet, said, "This corona helmet is one of the steps we will take to ensure that the people are aware of the seriousness of the police." A 228-year-old Virginian law that prevents swearing may be appealed. The original fine in 1792 was 83 cents, but the fine now can range up to $250. The governor wants to appeal it because he wants to get rid of old, irrelevant policies. If the bill gets signed, Virginians will be allowed to swear in public on July 1st, 2020. And lastly, people in Spain are playing bingo with their neighbors on balconies. They are trying to promote social distancing while also socializing with others. "It helps us stay entertained at night," says Cristina Pruenza. "It brings us all together to laugh and be happy, and it creates an incredible feeling of solidarity." And that is it for this week's Weird and Wacky News. This has been Nathan from KJLS. Now back to you, Miguel.
Now to Jonathan talking about free sports.
Thanks, Miguel. At a time when all sports have been canceled, why not catch up on some missed games? All 4 major American sports have opened up their game replays so fans can enjoy games during this break. The MLB has revealed their MLB TV free preview. All previous 2018 and 2019 games are all now free to watch. Maybe enjoy watching Game 7 of the World Series, where the Nationals would beat the Houston Astros, or watch Ichiro Suzuki's last game. In terms of the NBA, they are offering a free preview of NBA League Pass that will last until April 22nd. This extensive collection will include games from the current season, along with classics like Kobe's 81-point performance against the Raptors. The NFL is offering their signature Game Pass for free until May 31st. With the pass, you can watch any game from 2009 to 2019. You can relive the Philly special with Super Bowl 52, where Nick Foles led the Eagles to their first Super Bowl win. The NHL, following the trend, is also offering games on their Pause Binge service. This would include games and documentaries. Ever wanted to learn about the history of the NHL's first 100 years? Watch their documentary, The Founding Years.
There's plenty of time to watch a game during this hiatus in the sports world. Maybe discover a passion for a new sport. So get cozy and relive some of the best moments in sports. This has been Jonathan from KJLS. Now back to Miguel.
Good job, Jonathan. And now over to Rahel on staying connected with friends and family.
Hey Panthers, I'm here today talking to you guys about ways in which we can benefit and grow as a community. I understand that it may seem very overwhelming and stressful for you guys to be cooped up at home all day. So I thought it would be cool if we could share some tactics about ways in which we can grow as a community. For starters, be creative. Anybody can literally just sit at home all day, binge watching their favorite show. But if you guys want to be something and be creative and do something special, and you haven't gotten much time, well, because of school and extracurricular activities, then now's the time. Online video chats like Skype, Zoom, and FaceTime all allow you to make conversation with your fellow peers without actually being with them. For example, there was a viral video on Facebook about violin and flute players performing the song Ode to Joy by Beethoven. Just like that, you guys could be doing the same. This would be a perfect example of doing something creative and new that is also enjoyable. However, strengthening your community doesn't just end there. We are a team in this time of crisis. We need to be able to have each other's backs, no questions asked. Second, we need to keep experimenting. If an idea doesn't go to plan, we shouldn't just give up. We should be able to bounce back and make things work. And finally, we need to know our audience. If everyone were to cooperate, then we would be able to make a community much more successful. Alright guys, this has been Rahil. Now back to the anchors. Oh wait, anchor.
Those are some good ways to stay connected to family, even during these times. Well, now Roxanne is going to talk about business 6 feet apart.
Times are changing, and business owners are learning to adapt to the developing circumstances. For many companies, social distancing means closing up shop, while others remain open despite the coronavirus. So how do you define what's really helping your customers? In this news segment, we'll investigate how both large and local organizations have found ways to stay in the market and support their communities, all while maintaining a 6-foot business. Hey Panthers, I'm Roxana from KJLS Panthercast, and I'm here to talk about the Palo Alto Farmers Market. As of last Sunday, the market was still in session, selling produce and baked goods to many of our regular customers. Most attendees claimed that vendors and buyers were taking proper precautions, while a few were concerned by how close people got while entering the queue. By staying open and continuing to sell produce, many believe the market was actually maintaining good public health and supporting local farmers. Here's what some of the satisfied customers had to say. What do you think counts as social distancing?
6 feet, like, not hanging out with people, except for, I guess, the people you live with.
6 feet? About 6 feet, yeah.
And then maintaining 6 feet distance at all times from, just random people you encounter on the street.
We're wearing masks. We're going to try to keep social distancing, and I'm going to wash our hands really, really thoroughly when we get home.
It was good. They had everything roped off, and we weren't allowed to touch any of the produce. They would hand it to us, so we felt pretty good and safe, and we were able to keep a safe distance from everyone there.
Yeah.
However, you have to consider that it's difficult to keep a distance in a crowd this size. Compared to diseases such as the flu, coronavirus is highly contagious, and there's evidence showing that people with few or even no symptoms can still spread it to others. In the words of one expert, social distancing is really about physical distancing, and it works best when everybody practices it with as few exceptions as possible. Of course, keeping a balanced diet and supporting local farmers are still very important, but right now, it's our job to look for new ideas and solutions. From the Palo Alto Farmers Market, this has been Roxana from KJLS, keeping a distance. Now back to the anchors.
Now over to Rianne about things to do when stuck at home.
Hey Panthers, I'm Rianne from KJLS Panthercast. During this time of self-isolation, we're spending a lot of time at home, which may mean boredom for some of you, which is why today I'm going to give you some ideas of what you could do during this time period of self-isolation. One thing you could do is read, which our English teachers like us to do, but there are a lot of good stories out there, and you now have a lot of time to look into them deeper. Another thing you can consider taking up is origami, since it only requires paper, and paper is a very common item. You could try to fold 1,000 cranes and see if a wish comes true, but that'll take a lot of time. which I'm pretty sure we have. But something more challenging is to look up kusudama, which is origami art of making a bunch of pieces that form a single ball, which I've made here. These are more challenging and can be more entertaining. Another thing you could try with paper is drawing. You could stick to very simple things like smiley faces, or you could try to challenge yourself and try to do something more complicated, like I've done here, trying to draw a planeswalker from the Magic the Gathering universe, Nissa. You could teach yourself almost anything that you want to do using the help of the internet. For example, in 4th grade, I taught myself how to knit using the internet. And yes, there are always video games, which are always really fun. I hope I was able to give you some ideas of what you can do during this quarantine season. This has been Leanne from KJLS Panthercast, and I'm back to you in the studio.
Those are some good ideas, Rianne. Well, this is the end. Stay home, Panthers. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.